again, just going back to Friday night, I thought going through the tape, I thought we were, for the most part, other than a stretch for about 7 possessions the second half, we were really good offensively. A lot of good things from a lot of places. So, obviously happy with how that looked and similar to how I felt Friday night. But you turn the page now quick to head on the road to a place that no Big Ten team has won yet and obviously playing extremely well at home in Nebraska. And numbers, when you do the stat splits, are unbelievable of how much better they are at home. So looking forward to that. Had a good couple days off, which I thought were important for our guys on Saturday and Sunday, and then came back yesterday and started getting ready for Thursday night. So, questions?
Greg, you mentioned us, but what about, is three-point shooting one of those where they are exceptionally better there than anywhere else?
Yeah, it's almost 50% at home and in the mid to low 30s on the road. So that's the biggest area I think you see.
Coach, talking about taking one game at a time, this is the first time in a while where you've had a game on Thursday. With the shorter break kind of between this game and the Purdue game, do you kind of have a little bit of preparation for Purdue in the back of your mind as a coach, or do you focus primarily on this one only?
Right. This one only. The assistants will be working, whoever has Purdue and the scout, they've been working on it, I'm sure, for a while. They worked way ahead, but no, our mind stays on Lincoln. But
obviously, with how well Nebraska shoots at the three-point line at home, I mean, the three-point defense has probably been the most glaring defensive issue. I guess, how have you guys been trying to address that?
Glaring in what way?
Statistically.
Okay. We look more at what the attempts we're giving up than the percentage. Okay. So we're trying to minimize attempts. So there's two theories in three-point defense. One is run them off the line where they can't get shots, right? Take away attempts. And the second component is, do you impact the averages, the numbers? So we've gone back and forth. Some teams we don't run off the line as much, aren't quite as aggressive with, and aren't, as long as we can test shots. Nebraska's a team you want to minimize attempts. So I'm not as concerned about percentages as I am about trying to minimize attempts and not even let them get shots off. So that's typically how we've traditionally guarded. I mean, if you look at conference stats, typically we're in the bottom of a number of three-point attempts given up. Our percentage against us is a little higher, but in terms of the amounts that we give up is lower because of how we play certain actions.
Are there ways to defend that way while also preventing, I guess, those stretches where teams can hit, 4 or 5 in a row against you guys?
Yeah. I mean, you try not to make mistakes on screens. You try not to let Wilcher and Tamanaga get loose on you. And Rank Mast, his numbers home and road are as different as anybody's. So you try to minimize mistakes first of all in those situations, and then what are you doing your offensive end too? Are you having good possessions where they're having to work and they can't get into a rhythm, of easy offense or defensive possessions that relay or parlay into better offensive possessions for them. So there's an ebb and flow of the offense and defensive rhythm that are connected, that you're trying to make them have to guard you and work on the defensive end. So hopefully it impacts their effectiveness and the rhythm they're in offensively.
Greg, back here.
Yeah.
Where have Steven and Tyler taken steps in their ability to play aggressive in the post without drawing fouls over the course of the last several weeks?
In terms of, do I think they should be getting fouled more?
No. Where have they been able to
offensively or
defensively? When they're
I think they're both understanding the importance of the wall ups and not worrying about blocking shots. Just wall up. We'll get support whether we're trapping with the other big or we're digging from the perimeter. We'll get you some support from the top and make catches tough. I think Tyler did a terrific job on Dawson Garcia at Minnesota last week. He had a similar assignment with Malik Hall. So it's just minimizing catches where you can, and then not giving up easy shots, not bailing them out. you've heard me talk about fouling shooters too much, and some of that's walking under in the post. We've tried to eradicate that as much as we can. So, and we show things on film too when they leave the floor, they twist to go try to block a shot, what that does to your defensive rebounding positioning, and so I think they've just done a better job of just walling up and staying down and forcing tough shots over the top, and that's helped. When we can't prevent the ball going in, the next best thing is don't give them anything easy and don't foul them to bail them out of a bad shot.
What is it about Lincoln that makes it so tough to play in the last year for the Big Ten?
Well, I mean, you go all the way back to when they first joined the league. We went there in 2014 on No-Sit Sunday, or whatever they called it. So I don't know what Thursday will be. I have some ideas, but you probably can't print them. But, it's just, they support it. They pack it in. And their teams have played well. Tim had a really good team back in 2014. In fact, that was the last time we lost before in the Big Ten tournament, before that group made a run to the Final Four. So it's just, they're different. Most teams are a little different at home, though. I think maybe they are astronomically, but most teams, if you look at them, they have a tendency to play a little better at home, more comfortable, environment, energy from the crowd, etc. So I don't think there's anything schematically that's different. I think it's just they're a very confident group at home, other than Creighton going in there and in November, early December, whenever they played, nobody else is, and most teams haven't even come close. So, and the momentum they create from shooting threes. I think they shoot a ton of them. I don't know if they lead the league in three-point attempts, but my guess is they're up there. So it's just, like I said, they play well at home, and they get tremendous support. Evan?
Did you have any idea when you think you might get Kamari back, and on top of that, do you like Isaac in that backup role, or are you kind of still experimenting with, kind of take those minutes?
Yeah, I think it's, we're at least 2+ weeks out, I would say, probably from Kamari. And we'll see as we go down the road here. But Isaac's worked a little bit there. I've used Max there. I used John a little bit there today in practice. So, I think some of the stuff we're doing is not, Chucky obviously is as good as there is at doing the things we need for that position. But a lot of what we do offensively within the system, it doesn't require, a pure point guard. We just need guys that can move the ball and get it side to side. It's the leadership and the experience of the decision making that Chucky brings, and what he does defensively. And that's the thing that, Kamari brought to us. I thought he was really finding a rhythm and a niche of what he was doing defensively for us and creating a spark. So the other guys just don't play like he plays, in terms of how he's built and how he moves. So we just have to have other guys step up and help out.
Mark?
Yeah, Greg, I just want to get your thoughts on, the Big Ten announced, scheduling formats for next year with, a lot of one and dones as far as the conference season goes, and, 15 of the 18 making the conference tournament. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, both those.
Yeah, I think staying at 20 games is the right thing to do. We've had numerous discussions as league coaches about that, and we felt 20, going beyond 20, that we were starting to, it was going to be the, we're going to cannibalize ourselves even more in terms of trying to get more teams in the tournament. And as you run numbers analytically, what they look at, the 20 seemed to be, it was the right move going from 16 to 18 and then 18 to 20 like we've done over the last, I don't know how long we've been at 20, 5, 6, 7 years. But we've seen to hit an optimal spot. I mean, obviously I know we're not going to play everybody twice and travel and all those things that you have to be sorted out, but I'm happy with the 20. In the tournament, we discussed, there was a lot of different options. I think there was 4 or 5 different options we had a chance to voice our opinion on, and I wasn't, just because of the days, we were going to try to stay within the 5-day window of the tournament. Having all 18 was not going to be possible, so looking at 15 or 16 I felt was the right move, and they were able to work it where they want to, try to protect, the teams that finish in the upper half, so you're not jeopardizing your NCAA tournament seeding and placement. So a lot of those things have come into play of how and I'm sure there'll be changes. Who knows? We roll it through a few years, and maybe there's something we don't like, and we'll modify it. And but I think for right now, we're in a good spot.
Go to Seamus.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg, I'm just curious, how have you seen Connor bounce back from the slow start he's had to the season and the resurgence he's had during Big Ten play?
Yeah, I think he's kept working. He's put extra time in with Jim in the weight room and some conditioning and extra treadmill work and things that trying to get his body better. He's put more time in with our staff and shooting and doing some extra things to get himself back in rhythm. And I think the most important thing is he mentally has stayed in a really good place. He hasn't gotten into woe is me or feeling sorry for himself. He's taken on the challenge of, hey, I got to get better, and here's how I can do that and how I need to do that, and stay positive with it, knowing that I've told him all along. I said, we need you, but we got to get you up to where you need to be and where you can be. So he's taken that on and approached it the right way. And like I said, the most important thing is just how he's kept a positive attitude and hasn't got into sulking or isolating himself. He's happy to be part of a winning team and wants to continue to help us get better.
You mentioned after the game that you were happy to see Chucky to get a shot to fall. I guess, obviously hasn't really expressed much concern, but I guess this deep into the season, is this sort of what could you have ever expected that this slump, I guess, could have persisted this long, or is there any worry there?
No, I wouldn't know if I'd call it a slump, just because you've had so many other guys that the volume for him hasn't been near as high. It's probably a third of where it's been in the past. So for him, I think the same thing. He's just much like Connor's, like, what can I do and how do I need to do it well to help this team be the best? And we'll still need him to score, and he'll pick his spots to do that. But the impact he's made defensively, and then how he's really, I think Izzo summed it up really well. He's always in control. He's doing the right thing at the right time. He doesn't go too fast. He doesn't go too slow. He's your consummate point guard that just makes sure other guys get the ball in the right spots, and is very unselfish. Really has taken a selfless, mindset to this, and he's never been selfish, but he's taken it to a whole new level in terms of how he can modify his game to really allow others to flourish. I think that's what he's done.
Looking ahead to Purdue, and sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but when you are game planning for a 7'4" player, like a big guy too, in Edie, how A, do you practice for that, and B, kind of, without giving too much away, the X's and O's, I know that, but how do you game plan for that?
Well, we take two guys that are 4'8" and we tape them together, and we get to 7'4" or whatever. We've gone against him now for 3 years, and most 7'4" guys I've been around are big. That's a pun, get it? But it's hard to. You can't replicate him because we don't have anybody that big. So I don't have anybody in the scout team. And it's not only just him; it's the other pieces they have to their team. And Matt's always done a really good job of schematically putting you in some tough decision-making positions of where other guys are on the floor. Their guard play is really good with Lawyer and Braden Smith. They got experience up front too with Mason Gillis and Caleb First, and Lance Jones has given them a boost, coming in as a transfer. So, they're a really, really good team, aside from Zach Edey. And then you throw him into the mix, and yeah, I'll worry about that after we get through Thursday night. I'll have enough sleepless nights worrying about Keisei Tamanaga running around shooting threes.